Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. It has been a very long time. And I just wanted to hop on really quick and explain why. The last time I posted a video was way back in February of this year, 2023. And that video, if you haven't seen it, I was kind of contemplating about the future of my channel. And if you haven't seen that, I will link it in the description box below or put it up in the cards. But you definitely don't need to see that video first before you watch this one. So a little story time. So right around that time, or actually just slightly before I posted that video, I had started looking for work. And I had applied for a job that I really didn't think I was going to get hired for. But a little bit after that video posted, I was called for a series of interviews, and to make a long story short, I was hired. And it was for a retail position. I really didn't think that a woman of my age would be hired to work in that sort of environment. So I was working for this company as a sales associate, a regular floor associate, but then I got promoted to stylist, which was very surprising. Not surprising because I didn't have the ability to be a store stylist, but more I was surprised because, you know, I'm 56. And the demographic for this store really is, you know, anywhere from, I want to say the main targeted demographic is, you know, for young women from their, let's say, 20s to 35, let's say. But interestingly enough, it is the women who are older, in a slightly older demographic, I would say in the 40 to, let's say, 60 demographic, who are actually dropping the most cash at this particular store. So I was styling people from a younger demographic, from my age demographic, and also for slightly older ladies who were slightly older than myself. So sadly, this job came to an end. There were some negatives going into it. Predominantly, the first one was the distance from my home. And I found that I would work the morning shift, so that meant that I had to deal with a lot of you know, rush hour traffic and such, which was something I did not like doing. So I was raking up a lot of money in tolls, which kind of defeated the purpose of getting a job to make some more money. And there were some other reasons. Basically, in a nutshell, even though this job was one of the best, I would say one of the best retail experiences that I had, because I have a lot of background in retail. Retail is still retail. So when I started with the job, I had fully intended of keeping my YouTube channel up and running, because initially I thought I'd just be working just, you know, very, very part-time. And at the beginning, that's how it started. But then, you know, they started seeing my abilities, and so they started scheduling me more. And definitely once I got promoted to stylist, I was working a lot. And for my personality, for me, it was, even though it was enjoyable and it scratched a creative itch for me, you know, playing with clothes, styling people, picking out my outfit for the day also, it did scratch a little bit of a creative itch, and I found it enjoyable. But working with people for hours and hours and hours at a hectic pace, trying to help, you know, a lot of people at the same time, with kind of low support, you know. If you've noticed, when you go into retail stores these days, there's not a lot of associates on the floor, and that's of course to cut costs. And, you know, basically every week a store has a number of hours to, you know, to give associates depending on the sales of the past weeks and also projected sales, you know, whether or not there's going to be a big sale or a promotion that's going to need a lot of coverage on the floor. You know, while I'm there, I was able to do the job physically and everything that was required of me. It was more the mental toll. And sometimes it's not only, well, I was not only a stylist, but sometimes I was playing kind of fitting room therapist. And while I loved engaging with customers and hearing some of their life stories and their experiences, you know, you'd be surprised what you hear from a fitting room. I found that it was very, very draining, that I would get home and all I wanted to do is just either sit on my beloved armchair and tune out, watch YouTube videos, or color. I didn't even have the mental bandwidth on my off days to sew, which is, if you've been on my channel long enough, you know that's one of my favorite hobbies is sewing. And because for me, sewing requires a lot of attention to detail, I found that I just didn't have the bandwidth for it. In fact, I have a dress that I'm looking at right now sitting on my cutting table that I started working with, you know, kind of mid-August, and I got kind of, you know, through the process, but as of August, it's sitting there unfinished, taunting me, and it's right now, and it's a summer dress. And right now that we're in fall, we're in December now, early December, heading towards winter. It's taunting me. I have no use for wearing a summer dress, even though I am in Texas. You know, it's not 80 degrees anymore. But I've bought some fabric to make some sweaters and some fall items. But I've told myself I can't start sewing any of that until I get this summer dress off my table. But yeah, the job left me, you know, with dealing with traffic and with customers. It just left me with it was draining, and I had very little energy to, you know, to think of ideas for YouTube videos. In fact, I really didn't have the energy or the time to do my daily tarot practice. And before I started working, I like to do journaling and tarot pulls in the mornings, you know, either before or after breakfast. And, you know, I had to get ready to go to this job, and I found that I didn't have the energy for that in the evening. So I found myself getting a little bit depressed, and I felt my anxiety kind of rising, and that was a little bit disturbing to me. And so I talked with my husband, and I did a little soul searching and decided that this wasn't the right time or place for the job. Even though I enjoyed the job itself, the fact that I had to get up so much earlier in the morning, that it wasn't only working my shift hours, it was the time it took to get ready, because I had to, you know, I had to shower and make myself look presentable to sell clothes. And, you know, being of an older demographic, I felt that I had to put in the extra effort to look, you know, really good as I could, unlike some of the younger employees of the younger demographic, who a lot of times rolled out of bed and you could tell they took a comb to their hair or did some scrunchy stuff to their hair, no makeup, but they could look great. And, you know, when you get to my age, you have to do a little something. Even though I'm not a big I'm not into full face artifice and contouring and things like that. It it takes some effort. After being out of the retail game for a number of years, you know, I didn't work all through the lockdowns. I found that I was a little bit ill-equipped emotionally to deal with it. And it really is a shame because the money, at least for a retail job, I found was pretty decent. And a lot of it about the job itself I did like. I wish, you know, I wish it were a little bit closer to where I live so I wouldn't have had to have dealt with traffic or made the choice to rake up, you know, tolls on the toll roads, but you know, that's how it goes. So this is Bonnie in editing, and I just wanted to come in and say I hope I didn't sound too elitist in the previous section talking about working. Coming across maybe that I'm too good to work and to deal with all the hardships that go along with working. It's just that, you know, I have worked for years and years, and I'm quite a bit older than a lot of my audience. And I did work once all my kids were in school. I juggled raising a family and working a bunch of part-time jobs, from teaching at a gym, from teaching dance, from working retail, from being a crossing guard. I did all of that while my kids were in school. And when they were out of school, I worked right up until just before the lockdowns, you know, working a lot of hours in retail. So I do understand. I'm very privileged that I don't have to work as far as paying my rent and the necessities, but actually I should be working to paying off my kids' college debt a little bit quicker, you know, things like that. Working some would behoove me into putting in, replenishing the nest egg, which, you know, had slowed down while we were putting our kids through college. So, yeah, I just didn't want to come off as too elitist. And I empathize with everybody who is going through the rat race now, raising families, or just putting in all those hours at work, dealing with the long commutes. You know, I've done it. I've done it for years and years and years. So, yeah, back to the video. Yeah, so as far as tarot related things, as I said, I had very little energy for reading. I did still journal and read, but it wasn't the consistent practice as I had been used to, and that was sad. I was sad about that. And like I said, the only thing I really had the bandwidth to do during free time for myself to kind of calm myself down was, you know, coloring. During this time I was working and not really having a consistent tarot practice and journaling practice. I started whittling down my deck collection, and I had over 400 decks at one point. And I'm not a professional tarot reader. I'm just a solitary practitioner, and I found that I really didn't need all those decks, and a lot of them were, you know, just sitting there being unloved. And I was paying attention to the decks, the type of decks that I gravitated towards for certain kind of readings, you know, the tried and trues, the ones that give me the tingles and that always gave me clear messages, as opposed to the ones that I really, really liked because of the artwork or because I love the creator. But for some reason, I'd either, you know, our relationship was finished if we had one, or, you know, it just wasn't giving it, maybe, you know, something was happening with that relationship, or really, if I was being honest with myself, we never had a really good relationship. There were no clear messages, you know, the dialogue was always kind of muddled. And let me know in the comments below if you've had that happen to you. So I still have a good amount of decks. I really do. So yeah, why don't I show you what I have left and kind of where it's gone, you know. Let me show you my tarot spaces. They're kind of, I keep my decks in little pockets all through my house. So let's go take a look. So I apologize if there's an echo here. My main living area is all tile. So if you look at my bookcase, you see this first bottom portion that used to be full of tarot decks, but now I put a lot of my art books and my coloring books. So if we move a little bit farther down this way, you can see that I have, this portion still has tarot decks. And I have some sprinkled, as you can see, throughout my bookcase, as I always have had. But yeah, I eliminated that bottom shelf. And this shelf down here used to be full of tarot decks, and I moved some more books. Some of my little fashion books, my Princess Diana fashion, Marilyn Monroe books are down here now. And the shelf next to it used to be full of tarot decks, and now I just have a couple, my indie versions of the Light Seers and the Relative Tarot, but I have them combined with some of my tarot books here and a couple of other things. And you can see I have some more tarot decks just sprinkled throughout. And then over here, I have my little makeshift altar over here. But I have these little crates from Half Price Books, and you can see I have my little pocket decks here. And then under it, I have these stacked, and I have just a couple of little things, odds and ends. This used to be full of decks, and I got rid of some of the decks that were here. I have my Keymaster Tarot. This is the tuck box edition. You know, it came in those of you who know, it came in a fancier case, and I do have that one. This is Biddy Tarot's Everyday Tarot. I like that deck. It's very simple, but the cardstock is so thick, but I still like it because the artwork, you know, it's very clean and simple for those of you who know. Okay, so we're gonna move to the other side. These are like my tuck box, US Games, and I don't know, maybe some Lo Scarabeo, I don't know. Yeah, these are my tuck box decks. And then underneath this one, in these little pouches, I have like either extra decks, like this is an unopened version of the Light Seers Tarot Mass Market Edition, because I have the indie edition, and then when I ordered my first, when it just came out, the Light Seers Mass Market, it was unevenly cut, so Hay House sent me another one for free, so I have 3. The one that's imperfect, I just colored the edges and it's fine, but Hay House did send me that. And then I have, what do I have? Like some extra copies of some decks that I love. Like I have both editions of the Mystic Masters, and then some of these are indie decks, I think, that I have bought mass market editions of. Like this is the Dream Keeper's Tarot in there, the first original indie, and this is the Intuitive Night Goddess. This is the indie edition, and I use the mass market edition because I love this deck. So yeah, this is I think a second edition of the Victorian Romantic Baba Studios. So yeah, these are ones that I have seconds, or there are other editions. So now heading into my bedroom, I have this little craft cart that I keep my decks in my bedroom. And the top cart is full right here. This cart is a mixture, I think, of indie and mass market. Now this second part, I used to have this totally full to the brim. There used to be decks going sideways this way. It used to be brimming. And you can see there's some empty space here too. Again, this used to be totally full, and I used to keep some in the middle section here, but it's lightened up quite a bit. And then I'm gonna go, I have another little makeshift altar in my bedroom, but there's another matching cart where I keep my Oracle and Lenormand decks. And this is the emptiest. I got rid of, or rehomed, quite a bit more Oracle decks. Like I said, I don't use Oracle as much, but I do like using them. I just don't feel that I need so many. This is a new acquisition, the Siren Song, Lenormand, and Kipper cards, which I got when I was in California. So I just got that and I haven't had time to tear into it. But again, I used to have like stacks here of the smaller Oracle decks, and I used to keep them in between. Here are some, and in these little pencil case pouches, I keep my Lenormand, the small Lenormand decks. For those of you who know, Lenormand cards are generally tiny, you know, bridge size, pocket sized. So I have these, and there used to be decks, you know, in between here, and this used to be full to the brim on the bottom here, and it no longer is. And now we're on the other side of my dresser. Now, I used to have 3 of these little crates from Half Price Books stacked up, and now I only have 1 here. So that's the equivalent of 2 crates that are completely empty. I gave them to my husband to use for little 45 vinyls, which is what they're meant for, really. But what I keep in here are my little charm sets, some of my little charm sets. Lenormand, these are Lenormand charm sets. I have my Charm Cast Tarot in here. I have the little plastic version of the Charm Cast Tarot. And I have my tarot tiles of Push Kitty's Alice in Wonderland deck, the Wonderland Tarot. So I just keep those in here. But yes, I used to have 2 crates that I have emptied out now that used to be full of decks. And yeah, I no longer have that anymore. I do have some other charm sets like Carrie Paris's charm sets, charm casting sets, which I keep in another location. So yeah, you can see I have gotten rid of quite a few of my tarot deck collection, and I find it much more manageable now. So as you can see, I'm not hurting for decks at all. And in fact, in that time, I've bought very few decks. And I think before this video posts, I'm going to post an unboxing video that I did, a kind of side-by-side comparison of a deck that I recently got. And it's by one of my favorite creators in the whole world. And I found out about the deck kind of late because I haven't been keeping up with TarotTube. I have been watching some videos here and there that have been more instructional, but as far as decks, deck unboxings, I haven't been watching them. I haven't been really going on Kickstarter. Every now and then I'll go and look, but it's not like a daily or regular thing. I did back, you know, a couple of Kickstarters during the summer that one I got, another one I haven't gotten yet. So I haven't really been keeping up to speed. So when I found out that this deck was released and it had been out for about, I don't know, a month or 2 by the time I found out about it, I was really excited. So I'll leave a link in the description below if you haven't seen that side-by-side comparison, because there was an indie version of the deck and now there is a mass market version of that deck. Yeah, so before I go, I'm going to take you over to my table. I'm just going to show you a few things that I've been coloring. I've been trying to improve my pencil technique, and I've been experimenting and watching mostly a lot of YouTube creators in the adult coloring space. So if you're not interested in that, I'm going to come back here and we're just going to finish out the video, and I'm just going to talk really briefly about where I'm at. Okay, let's head over to the table. Just as a point of reference, I mentioned this in a video a long time ago that I've always enjoyed coloring as a kid because I couldn't draw. And it's a hobby I picked up when my mother got ill. And I was spending a lot of time in airports and sitting beside her a lot of the times when she was sleeping. And it was a terminal illness. So yes, there was a lot of times when she was in and out of consciousness towards the end. So I picked up coloring just, you know, as something to do and as, you know, stress relief. But this book here is one of the books I picked up from Amazon. It's a Roaring 20s fashion book. And you can see this is a very early attempt at this coloring hobby. And basically, I wasn't trying to make anything look beautiful. It's just the act of laying color on paper. And I had a very limited supply of pencils. I think I had some student grade Faber-Castells and some Crayola pencils, you know, the kind that you pick up at Target or at Walmart. And let me show you the pencils I was working with, what I did this with. These are one of my children's elementary school pencil boxes that I've just kept, you know. It's perfectly good. I'm not going to throw it away, especially they're handy now that I've picked up my own coloring hobby. But these pencils are, I think I actually picked these up at Hobby Lobby years and years ago. I don't really shop at Hobby Lobby anymore for specific reasons, but I did pick these up there, and probably the Crayolas too. But these are the Faber-Castell, kind of a little student grade comfort grip. Yeah, I think they were a set of 24. And then I have also these Faber-Castell student grade. They're metallic pencils. I mean, they're okay. And I mean, I don't really see the metallic in them when I lay them down, but, and let me see. Oh yeah, just student grade Crayola pencils. And these either I picked up at Hobby Lobby, or maybe they were some that I found scrounging around in my kids' old school supplies. But I don't use them a lot now because I have some other sets that I prefer. But anyway, this is it. This is what I used. I took that exact box with me in a backpack with some coloring books. And this is another attempt. And then mostly, yeah, this was a little favorite book. I love historic fashion. And I love reading about it, learning about it. I love to learn about textiles. Well, I sew, so. But yeah, this is that metallic, that purple metallic pencil. And you know, it doesn't really look metallic, as you can see. But it's a pretty shade of mauve. And yeah, this is what the combination of Crayolas and those student grade Faber-Castell pencils, that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is what, yeah, my skills at the time. And again, it's not, well, with these dresses, I was trying to make them look a little bit pretty, you know, with trying to pick out some good colors. But, you know, as far as technique, there is none. So from these early attempts, we move on. So you'll know by my channel name, Old Soul Mermaid. I love mermaids, and I'm a Piscean, in case you didn't know. So of course I had to pick up a mermaid themed coloring book. But, well, I'll say this information after I show you the picture. But yeah, Selena Fennick, you may know the name. She's done some oracle decks, some illustrations. Yeah, so you'll recognize this name. So these are some of the illustrations in this book. They are very, very cool illustrations. I've done one picture in this book. So you can see I was trying to mimic the cover a little bit. And you can let me know in the comments below if I succeeded or not. But I love the illustrations in this book, but I have since become a bit of a paper snob. So these inexpensive coloring books that you can get off of Amazon, on Amazon Create Space Paper, I don't really enjoy coloring in anymore. Now that I've been able to work in some books that are a little bit more expensive, but that have higher quality paper, and the lay down is so much more, the experience is so much more pleasant laying down color. And on this cheap paper, it's not as an enjoyable experience. I find like I have to fight it. And that's probably just me being inexperienced. You know, an artist can make a beautiful picture working with any kind of materials. But the thing with me is how enjoyable the experience is. I don't want to fight when I'm coloring. You know, this is supposed to be a Zen hobby. Now, this is an example of a coloring book that has much higher quality paper in it. And I did this little picture. I'm going to zoom you down a little bit so you can see it's a small little coloring book. See how cute that is? But the paper is so nice, and it was thoroughly enjoyable working on this paper and working on this little illustration. I find that I do very much enjoy working on faces and portraits, though I like other illustrations too. It depends what I'm in the mood in, but for something simple and not a lot of line work, I find it to be very, very relaxing. So I did this little girl in this book, and I also did this one. And in the background, I've used chalk pastels. That's one thing that I need to work on now, is how to build and fill in a background. I'm very inept at it, but it's something I want to learn. I have to watch some more YouTube videos on how to do that. As you can see, I've done one more picture in this book. This one. This is a recent one. I really liked how I did this iguana. I liked how I did her and the flower, but I was using some water-soluble artist crayons. Maybe some of you who know, I was trying to use the Caran d'Ache, what are they called? Neocolor 2s, yes. They have Neocolor 1s, which are wax artist grade pencil crayons, and then the Neocolor 2s are water soluble, and I had no idea what I was doing. I just felt adventurous, and I laid some color down and was playing with it. I'm kind of disappointed. I think the background ruins her, but you know, you don't know if you don't try. So yeah, I'll I tried, but I like how the pencil work was. And you can see there's slow improvements of what I've done from where I started. Those of you who color may know of the artist Maria Trolle. This is a book of an example of higher quality paper. This will run you about $14, $15 on Amazon, depending on what kind of deals they're having. I did color the title page, again, the background with chalk pastels, and I was pretty much playing with some pencils, just kind of playing and getting a feel for the paper. So again, like that Selena Fenwick book, that runs, you can pick that up for like $7.99. This is a little bit more. I did do a couple of pictures in this one. Again, my background's chalk pastels, because I just don't know what else to do, and I didn't feel like leaving it white. But I liked my flowers, I liked my leaves, and my butterflies. Yeah. And then I did another one over here. And again, I liked my peaches, my fruit, my leaves. Again, using chalk pastel in the background. That's why I want to get kind of a different, start using a different medium. That's why I was experimenting with the Neocolor too. But obviously I need to look at some more YouTube videos to learn how to do backgrounds. But you know, one step at a time. This is another example of really good illustrations to color in, but not a good experience with the paper. It's cheap paper, but look at these illustrations. This paper isn't quite as horrible as the Selena Fennick book. It's one tiny step up from that, but you can, this is the one I did in this book. Turned out pretty well. I kind of like how I did her makeup. Her eyes specifically. I like the eyes. But, and I was a little bit successful using the chalk pastels here with the bubbles and whatnot. This book is by a well-known artist, Camilla D'Erico. She has several coloring books, and she does, it's kind of manga-like, whimsical, but I was able, I think this book, it's, you know, retails for $15.99. Yeah, roughly on Amazon. I think Amazon, it'll run you about $12.99, but I got it for $7.99 at Half Price Books. That's a good place to look for coloring books. And you can find all kinds if you have a Half Price Books by you. But I did do these two pictures back to back. I did this one first. This one creeps out my husband with all the eyeballs. And I did use some chalk pastel with a stencil for the background. Thought that was pretty good. I thought the pencil work was pretty decent. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, but be kind. I am a beginner. Yeah, I used Prismacolors for this, and I found that it worked really well on this paper. But I don't know if you want to take a little bit. It is kind of embarrassing because I know that some of you may be wonderful, talented artists. So I am a beginner. I do not claim any expertise. But it's an improvement of, you know, where I was. And then I did this picture, which I'm kind of proud of. Kind of the moody coloring background again with chalk pastels, but I like how I did her tail. I did, for the water, I did use those. I had better luck with the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s in here, as you can see. And I like her purple hair, purple and pink. So this was a lot of fun to do. And it's the kind of picture I like, not a lot of line work. When I'm feeling stressed, I don't like to do a lot of line work. I just want to lay down some color, but it depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I will venture and do something with a little bit more intricate line work, but this is kind of where I am right now. But yeah, this is a favorite of mine. Okay, this is one of the Inklings books by Tanya Bond, and I've had this book in my Amazon wish list, but I picked it up at Half Price Books, and I was very, very excited to find one of these at Half Price Books. This is what I don't like when coloring books are back to back. I like it when they're only one-sided, pictures on one side, because if you do want to use a wet medium, something like alcohol markers, or, you know, a water medium, it can ruin the paper on the other side. But, and this book is, yeah, it has pictures on two sides, so you have to kind of be aware of that, and you have to sacrifice a picture. But I did this girl, and I'm happy with all of it except the way I did her cheeks. With the markers, I'm still learning how to use and blend with markers, but it didn't work that well. I made her cheeks look kind of triangle instead of having it blend in, which I'm used to being able to do mushy cheeks with, you know, like a wax-based pencil. And this I used a combination of, I did chalk pastels in the back. I laid down a base layer of marker, and then in some places, as you can see, I put some pencil over it, which I thought made a nice effect. I like how I did my owl. The only thing I'm unhappy with really are her cheeks. And I think this is the only one I did in this book. But this Inklings book I purchased with the other one because they were both on the shelf at Half Price Books, and I was so happy. So let me see. Oh yes. I did this girl, and I thought she turned out pretty well. And I didn't try to do any cheeks with marker. I kind of did it with the pencil, which was a good choice. But I did a base layer with marker, and then I made some texture with some colored pencils. And I thought she turned out quite good. And I was happy because this book is one-sided, as you can see. So I'm not ruining. I'll put a sheet of paper here so it won't bleed onto this one. And then we're good. And I think I did one more in this one. Oh, I did this one. Parts of it I'm really happy with. I like how I did her tentacles. The background, yeah. I like the color, but it's kind of uneven. I don't know. Maybe the textured vibe of it you might like, but I'll try to do better next time. But parts of it I really do like. And I thought she was a valiant attempt with markers and pencils. Okay, I'm going to stop boring you. But again, there's something so satisfying with laying color on paper. Totally relaxing. More relaxing than sewing. It's really fun. Let me know in the comments below if you love to do adult coloring, what your favorite pencils are, your books, your favorite coloring book artists. Also, if you'd like to do a color along, or if you'd like me to go over my favorite books, my favorite pencils, kind of the things I've learned, yeah, let me know in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed that little glimpse of, you know, my little coloring hobby. As of now, I stopped working kind of a little bit before Thanksgiving. Yeah, I missed all the Black Friday ruckus. That wasn't entirely planned, but it was kind of welcomed. I was glad I didn't have to go through all that. So I'm kind of like where I left off back in February, not really knowing what the future of this channel is. Because as I'm not buying so many decks, I am not going to be doing a ton of unboxings. And as I feel that I'm still such a newbie to tarot, and there's so much I'm trying to learn and trying to read, I don't really have a lot to teach. You know, those of you who are new to tarot or who are seeking, there's a lot of other people in the space who have been studying, who've been working as practitioners, and who could better serve you in that way. So I've been wondering, you know, various ways that I could take this channel now that I have the time to think about it. And I think I'm going to post some questions that I posed in my other video in February. What would you be interested in seeing? Because some things that have been kicking around in my head is maybe some straight talk videos about getting older, about kind of life experience, hobbies, kind of maybe reflections and thoughts of what I wish I had done differently in my life. And there are a few things. There are definitely a few things. And I know from the age demographic, from the analytics, that my viewers are a lot younger than me. There are a few that are around my age, but the bulk of you are like from the 25 to 35 age demographic. So there might be some tidbits of information that might be helpful and maybe not. It could be things with a couple of things I wish I did differently with my kids. A couple of things that I'm going to pat myself on the back that I absolutely did right. What's it like to go through menopause? What's it feel like to be a 56-year-old woman in this age of Instagram? Maybe talking more in depth about my Mormon upbringing. And there's been a lot of things going on with the Mormon Church. Oh my gosh. It's a deep rabbit hole to go into. Another idea I've had that I've been mulling around also, would you like to see my favorite clothing items? You know, trying to navigate style as a 56-year-old woman. And as you get older, does your style change? Do your tastes change? I know that I found trying to find some videos of creators, you know, in the 40 or actually 50 plus space here on YouTube, styling techniques and makeup techniques, hair technique videos. I find that I can't really vibe with some of them, because there's a lot of them that are beautiful. They have wonderful style, but either they have a lot of money, you know, and they're buying some things that I could never afford to buy. They are doing a heavily involved makeup and beauty routine that, you know, I'd really rather spend my time doing something else. I like something more pared down and simple, and the contouring and whatnot isn't working for me at this point in my life. And actually, truth be told, that was never my thing. Even though I do really enjoy cosmetics, I'm not a makeup junkie. I'm not one to buy every single palette that comes out and to follow certain makeup lines and have to buy everything in that makeup line. That's just not me. And another thing I find that, you know, a lot of the YouTube or Instagram creators, you know, as they're preparing outfits, they all seem to have a lot more exciting life than I do. Because even though I like their styling, I like the items that they have, you know, I'm not going to very many parties at this point in my life, and actually not to very many social events. You know, my lifestyle is very simple, it's quiet, it's casual, but still, you know, I want to be comfy, cozy, while I'm at home, but I want to have items that when I go out, I don't have to think about it too much. I can just have something that's appropriate for every occasion, and having a few things that could be easily dressed up if the occasion arose. And if I were to create any of these kind of videos, they'd be very, very low key. I'm not into a lot of editing, as you know. I'm just kind of very, very technically challenged in that way, and I don't want to spend a lot of brain power trying to figure things out. So they would be very, very dirty, but hopefully there might be some little nuggets or pearls of wisdom in there that might resonate with some of you. Also, I would never end this channel without saying a formal goodbye. So just know that. I may not post for a while, but it's because I'm still thinking about things, if I have anything to offer in this space or any other space. Conundrum I had about my channel is like when I've been debating about whether to end it or just leave up, you know, just leave up the videos. A lot of my videos my unboxing videos have a lot of music in it, which I purchase through subscription through Epidemic Sound. I think it's $17 a month. So if I were ever to end my channel, it would have to be a complete end. because I would stop my Epidemic Sound subscription because I can't have my videos up, being monetized with that music in it. I'd have to go through my catalog and just, I think I would either have to demonetize each of those videos so they wouldn't be making the few pennies that they make every month, or I just have to make them private, and stop my Epidemic Sound subscription. So I'm paying right now, I'm paying more for Epidemic Sound at $17 a month than my channel is making. And you might think, well, stop putting music in your videos, but I don't know. The way I did my unboxings, sometimes finding the perfect song to go with a certain deck, with the vibe of a deck, is, again, it's part of the creative process for me. And it was a lot of fun. So I haven't really decided what I'm going to do about that. I guess it depends whether or not I decide to continue with YouTube. So you might see some experimentation on this channel, and I think I'll just probably go from there. See what sticks. See if I feel inspired. I mean, there are topics that I would love to talk about. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if I could ask, if it's not too much, if you could just hit a thumbs up, hit the notification bell, leave a comment below, all of which really helps the algorithm, especially, since I haven't posted a video in months and months and months, unless I post this unboxing video first. But still, all of that is really, really helpful. Sorry, there's a motorcycle going by my window. In helping the algorithm. It's free. It just takes a couple of little pushing of buttons, and it would really, really help a lot. So hopefully I'll be back with you really, really soon. I'll enjoy reading your comments and your thoughts. And with that, I will leave you to get on with your beautiful day. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Bye for now.